Have you ever wondered about China's intentions towards India and the US? Pause. Let that question sink in for a moment. In recent years, we've seen a considerable shift in the geopolitical landscape. The relations between China, India, and the United States have grown increasingly complex, with a heightened sense of tension and intrigue. Now let's consider this. What if China is using its actions in India as a rehearsal for a broader strategy? What if the destabilization we're seeing in northern territories of India is not just about India? What if it's a precursor, a testing ground for a grander scheme targeting the United States? Is China experimenting with strategies of destabilization in India to later apply them in the US? To answer this question, we need to decode China's actions. China's increasing influence in Asia is unmistakable. In 2023, the US military plans to counter this influence by enhancing its presence in the region, a move that is met with logistical challenges and political sensitivities. The US aims for a lethal and more mobile posture, marking significant changes in its military posture. China, however, doesn't seem to be backing down. Instead, it's criticized the US for its bill aimed at challenging China's growing global influence, labeling it as Cold War-era thinking. This bill allocates a staggering $250 billion for research and development to counter China's economic and military rise. But there's more to China's actions than meets the eye. Reports suggest that China's corruption schemes, particularly evident in the Belt and Road Initiative, pose a substantial economic and security threat to the US. The US Congress is responding with the Countering Russian and Other Overseas Kleptocracy Act, or the Crook Act, to combat these corruption campaigns. China's outreach to Pacific Islands also cannot be ignored. Despite pushback from neighboring countries and US officials, the Solomon Islands signed a draft security cooperation agreement with China, raising concerns about a potential Chinese military presence in the region. Analyzing these actions in the context of China's intentions towards India and the US, it becomes clear that China is not only asserting its power, but also expanding its influence. Whether it's through political maneuvers, corruption campaigns, or strategic alliances, China's actions seem to be part of a larger plan of influence expansion and power assertion. What have we learned from our deep analysis of China's actions? We've seen that China is steadily increasing its influence in Asia, focusing on countering the US military presence and expanding its geopolitical footprint. It's not just about military power. They're weaving an intricate web of economic and diplomatic ties that could shift the balance of power in their favor. The criticism of the US bill aimed at challenging China's growing global influence is a clear sign of China's assertiveness. They're not just playing defense, they're pushing back, boldly asserting their position on the global stage. Then, there's the alleged corruption schemes, particularly within the Belt and Road Initiative. This isn't just about money, it's about power, influence, and creating dependencies that could be used to shape global politics in their favor. And let's not forget the outreach to Pacific Islands. This isn't just about expanding China's sphere of influence, it's about countering the US presence in the region and potentially creating a launchpad for further expansion. What does this mean for India and the US? It's a clear sign that China is actively experimenting with methods of destabilization, testing the waters, and potentially gearing up for larger-scale operations. While it is difficult to predict China's next moves, it is clear that the country is implementing strategic actions that could have significant implications for India and the US.